it's a tough kind of situation where you have talented players, but and in certain respects, they'll complement Zion. Like on fast breaks, he'll look spectacular. But really, think about the lineup. Think about the lineup. If Lonzo's starting, just think about the starting lineup yesterday. If you got Lonzo, and by the way, Drew Holiday can shoot it, right? Zion can't, Lonzo can't, Ingram can't, no one else can. Like that's going to be tough. So the construction of the team will lead to highlights. It will not best serve his long-term development, and he's not going to look like an MVP. But in terms of can he sustain success, what the pros are going to find out is what they found out in college. Remember now we're saying this about the pros. Well, it'll be different when he's facing grown men like for the first time. Nah, it ain't going to be different. It's going to be different for the people who have to face him because he's faced grown men before at times playing basketball. They've never faced Zion Williamson. He will be able to physically impose himself, Stephen A., to the tune of an all-star appearance because his numbers will be good enough for the fans to vote him on, and he's very popular, and leading SportsCenter highlights all the time, and being a clear star on the rise.
The brother is box office. Let's get that out of the way. He is absolutely box office. He's a highlight reel. He's going to live on SportsCenter. SportsCenter is going to do more marketing for him than anybody by accident because he's going to be dunking the basketball. He's a Skywalker, and at 280 pounds, to be that kind of guy, make no mistake about it. That's something special. The interesting part that I watch out for, Max, when I think about him, he goes to the hole with such reckless abandon. Chances are, in most instances, you think about it and say, excuse me, people are going to move out the way. But these are grown men who are very, very strong on the NBA level as well. And so it's not beyond the realm of comprehension that one of the defensive mechanisms that's going to be implemented and exercised is going to be guys' willingness to take an offensive foul because he plays with such reckless abandon that it could ultimately be to his detriment. If you recall, before the tournament, that's a couple of times leading up to the NCAA tournament, he found himself in foul trouble. Why? Because he plays at 100 miles an hour. He goes right at it. And that veracity that he doesn't seem capable of dialing back at this particular moment in time, you're going to get guys that get in front of him for the sole express purpose of causing him to be a bit hesitant, thereby knowing that, figuring that out, suddenly he might decide to pull up for jump shots, set shots, etc. They may try to challenge him that way. And if they do that, I think that will compromise his immediate success. There's no question it appears he'll be a star, but I'm watching out for that. Go ahead, Roz.
Stephen A., I'm listening to you and Max talk about Zion going up against grown men. Watching this preseason game, what I saw on the highlight reel was a bunch of free movement for Zion, either in transition or against the scrambling defense, rotating or cutting behind the defense. He's out in space. When a defense is focused, and again, let's remind you, it's preseason, and this is a very young and up-and-coming, still getting themselves together Bulls team that somehow still managed to allow this team to come back and win against them when they were down by 23 points in the fourth quarter without the starters in, and they allowed the Pelicans to still come back and win. So just to tell you who the Bulls are, but against a better team, a more grown, more physical group. You don't expect Zion to get more contact, bumps, physicality, to take away his space and mobility. You think he'll be able to handle that?
No, I don't even think it's about like him getting more bumps. I think it's about what Stephen A. said. If you get in his way and use his aggression against him, you can get him in foul trouble. You can turn him into a passer, right? But the thing is, he's a willing passer. It'll actually help him develop his game. I think, but of course, he's not going to look like he looked against a hapless Bulls team that let him do that.
I expect a lot of touching and physicality.
Yeah, but I think that's even Matt Barnes was like, the only way you could stop him is to foul him, but I don't even know if you could feel it, you know? And that's Matt Barnes talking, one of the toughest dudes and like best teammates.
Absolutely.
Stephen A., when I look at Zion, what I think is this, and this is what I mean, like, can he sustain it? I think the answer is yes. Is he more like one of the following players? Is it going to be like Kobe's rookie year? No, because Kobe, it was at a time when most guys didn't jump from high school.
It'll be better than that.
And they really limited what he was going to do, his exposure. Would it be like Magic Johnson, who was a much more developed product, but still only 19 years old, and took the league by storm and won a title? No, I don't think like that. Or Larry Bird, same thing. MVP is practically as soon as he hits the ground. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think it's actually going to be, and this comparison is made a lot, more like LeBron as a rookie. Not as good as LeBron, because he won't be as good as LeBron. No knock against Zion. You can win 3-4 MVPs, wind up in the Hall of Fame, and never be LeBron James. And the expectations aren't quite LeBron-sized. But it will look more like that. He'll be the focal point of the team. He'll do a good job. He will clearly be a rookie learning. He will clearly not be an MVP candidate, but Stephen A, star. He's going to be a star right away.
Well, first of all, he's going to be a star. He's going to be on the All-Star team because the All-Star game is in Chicago, and as a result, you're talking about, it's Chicago, the house that MJ built, and you have a dude that finishes at the rim. My boy Chant was just texting me. I got to get ready to block him because he thinks he knows more basketball than Naismith, so I got to get ready to block him. But he was just texting me about that this morning. Here's the reality of the situation. At the end of the day, you want me to tell you who I think Zion, and you ready for this, Roz?
Who?
Because you have covered the NBA exceptionally well, by the way.
Thank you.
I think that Zion's rookie year, to some degree, is going to mirror Shaquille O'Neal
Wow.
in Orlando.
I made that comparison,
Let me
too.
explain. When you talk about 23, maybe it's not 23 a game like Shaquille O'Neal average, but will he make 56% of his shots? 9 or 16 shots a game? Likely. You know why? Because most of them are going to be dunks. And you know Alvin Gentry, being the damn good coach that he is going to make sure this brother gets about 16 shots a game. And because it's going to be about 16 shots a game, and most of them are going to be dunks, and it's going to be with him throwing those 280 pounds around to create space for him to dunk, it is going to remind you of a man-child, strength-wise, that just seems, head and shoulders above most in that physicality department.
Yes.
And I think that's where the Shaquille O'Neal comparison comes in. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.